So I'm sorry this video is going to jump around a little bit. I noticed when I was uploading that the beginning of my buttonhole stitch somehow got cut off or deleted, and it started a little ways in, so you didn't see how it started. So I'm just going to do a second one right near where it started. Normally this kind of stitch you would definitely want your fabric stretched, but since I'm just going to be doing a couple little stitches, it's not going to matter too much. So I've knotted off my thread. I'm just going to come right over here. In a buttonhole stitch, you work from the top. It's kind of a cross between a satin stitch and an outline stitch. So once I have it started, if I just wanted to do a little shape like this, right? I'm going to start at the top. And I'm going to go into the bottom and back out at the top, right? Now instead, so from here it kind of just looks like a chain stitch or a satin stitch or something, but instead of going, back forward this way, I'm just going to go next to it, and I'm going to leave my fabric on top, my needle on top the whole time. This is going to be a little upside down from this one, so just watch, okay? On this one, I was starting from the top and going towards the bottom, working from right to left, and so we have this kind of satin stitch with this nice little braided effect on one end. So whatever the bottom is, whether I'm working from right to left, top to bottom, what have you, whatever the bottom, wherever I'm coming back out of the fabric, I'm going to be keeping my loop up here. I'm going to come in and out, and I'm going to pass over that. And so you can see it starts to make this little loop. And now on my next one, I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to come in and back out, and I'm going to make sure I am passing over that little loop. And as you can see already, after just 2 stitches, we're starting to get an effect with a satin stitch and a little loop right there. So I'm going to show you one more time. I'm going in and out, and I'm just making sure that my needle passes over the loop of thread right there, okay? And I'm not following my guideline very well. Usually this stitch you work from top to bottom, not bottom to top, but I'm just trying to make sure that the loop is on the side that you can see easily. So once it's done, it looks like this. And as it starts, you just see after the first stitch, you don't really have that little loop, but starting with the second one, that's when you're building that loop on there. And when I finish it off, I'm just going to go back. I don't want to come back to the top to finish it off. I'm going to finish by taking a small stitch on the end with the loop, and that anchors it down like that. And then on the back, I would finish it the same way I finished anything else. There we go. Now it's a little easier. It's hard to do this while holding my hand in such a way that the camera can still see things.
Mm-hmm.
And not just the back of my hand.
Although I'm not paying super much attention to the camera, so I'm sorry if it's not great.
It's okay. Just if you glance up once in a while to make sure I'm still in frame, or like right now, my hand is blocking the stitch, right? So if you glance up and I'm completely blocking the stitch with the back of my hand, you could let me know.
Right.
towards the end, I'm just finishing off the last few stitches, and so I'm going to turn it again so you guys can see. So last few little stitches here to fill in. Oops. And buttonhole stitch. And just like with all the others, you don't necessarily turn, with these filling stitches, you don't necessarily turn the angle to fill it in to get bigger or smaller stitch, wider or skinnier areas. You just take bigger or smaller stitches. Sometimes you might need to turn it a little bit, but mostly we don't. So on this one, I'm going to take one final stitch from the top just to anchor that little loop right there. So that's what it looks like from the top, like a little banana. On the back, it looks very similar because you're going back and forth. It looks very, very similar. You just don't have the little loop on one end, but it looks. So I'm going to wind it through a few times to secure it, and that is our buttonhole stitch.